Welcome back to Beyond the Whistle for the first episode of a brand new season. As always, we've got you covered on all you need to know about current sports news, professional, collegiate, and local levels. We will be your hosts throughout this season. I'm Andrew Vincent.
And I'm Alex East.
On this week's episode of Beyond the Whistle, we've got NFL wildcard highlights, NBA midseason awards, and our first guest of the season. And to get started with our first episode, I think we are going to be getting into NBA a little bit and kind of just discuss what's been going on. So
new season, changing it up a little bit. We always start with football.
Exactly. Normally we start with football. This season we'll give it a try with NBA. But at this point in the season, it's about halfway through. We're almost to the All-Star break, and so standings are starting to, you're starting to play out and see who's kind of at the top.
There's starting to be gaps, I think, whereas at the beginning of the season, there were one game differences between the standings versus now certain teams are starting to pull away from others.
100%.
So we're kind of getting more of like a clear vision, I feel like, of who will be.
I agree, except for in the West. I think the West is just the wild west right now.
From the beginning of last season, we literally said the same thing, that the West was the top four. Even now, it's 10 teams.
Yeah,
they could all shift.
Exactly, and notably, I think last time the Blazers were the number 1 seed, and now what are they? They're the 12th seed. Yeah. And who's the 3 seed? We got the Kings at 3, the Utah Jazz who just traded away.
The Kings.
Yeah, the Kings.
Can we talk about the Kings?
Yeah, the Kings. Yeah, so they made a big old trade, trading away Tyree to the Pacers for Domantas Sabonis, and
which you have always felt like was not a good trade.
I didn't think it was a good trade because at the time Tyree is a second-year player. I think he is skyrocketing potential, and right now he's showing that on the Pacers. He's averaging double-digit assists, leading the NBA in assists. So he knows how to run a team, and the Pacers have been doing really good themselves. So, but at the same time, obviously the trade hasn't hurt the Kings because they're the number 3 team in the NBA or in the Western Conference.
I feel like it's a similar story, not similar story, but when you look at something like Russell Westbrook getting put on the bench, right? It's not always about the star player. It doesn't work. It doesn't always work.
Yeah.
And whatever they did is working for them. They're 3 right now.
Yeah.
Which is, like we said, the West is kind of really tight. So I'm looking at it here. They're about 1 or 2 game difference between the
the West is all very close. Exactly. The 8 seed has the same amount of losses as the 6 seed.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying that could all change in 3 weeks.
100%. But at this moment, do you think it will probably play out the same?
I think the top 2 teams. So I do think Denver and Memphis are going to kind of stay holding their positions. I mean, they are definitely, like I said, splitting the gap a little bit between the 3 to 8 team.
Yeah.
And it's a similar thing in the West, except it's more Boston is pulling away from the 2 to 6 team.
Yeah.
So I do think that Denver and Memphis will kind of stay where they are. I think that 3 to 8 can kind of get all jumbled up.
Yep, I agree. I think, the West is very mixed up right now. I have hope that...
But so is the East when you look from 2 to 6, or even 2 to 10.
Yeah, but I agree. But for the most part, I feel like the East is... it's pretty the top teams are kind of relatively what we expected. You got the Cavs, the Nets, the Sixers. There's not too many teams that are in there that you're like, what the hell? The West is just going crazy right now. But it's exciting to watch, and I think that the top 2 teams are in the East. I would say the Celtics and the Bucks, in my opinion, are the best 2 teams in the NBA right now. But we'll find out who's going to come out on top for the Western Conference.
Yeah, I still think it'll be Denver. What's crazy to me is the Suns.
Yeah, the Suns suck.
They started out the season I think I had them in the finals.
We both had them. We both picked. So. I picked Milwaukee, and then the Suns.
And they like had pulled away like in that top spot, like they were doing so well, and now to see them drop to the 11th seed in the West is it's like what's going on there?
Yeah, I think that they're having issues with kind of internally with DeAndre Ayton. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that. Him and Mikal Bridges were beefing on the court and fighting in the team huddle.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of changes, not even player-wise, but in the office and everything.
Obviously, they had the big off-season of their owner kind of having the whole...
There's been a lot of scandals, I feel like, surrounding the Suns recently. And you wonder if that ever does have effect on players.
I think it does. I think it definitely trickles down from the top to the bottom. And at the end of the day, it can affect the play on the court. So, unfortunately, that pick right now is not looking too hot for either of us. Pretty soon here, we're going to be making some new picks.
Yes.
I'm going to be shaking it up a little bit.
I think
for sure.
Some of them are the same and some of them are really different than the start of the season. So I'm interested to see. But speaking of All-Star break coming up very soon, I would love to go in and kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
I feel like both sides kind of have like these four kind of top players, but one of them's going to have to come off the bench. For example, in the East, we have, Giannis, Kevin Durant, Tatum, and Embiid. So it's like, which one of those four players do you think is going to come off the bench?
I would say Embiid would come off the bench.
I agree.
I think Tatum's playing way too good right now.
Yeah.
Giannis is Giannis. Kevin Durant
just
leads
the vote.
He's also, they take a lot into fan voting. So like LeBron and him, I think the past 2 years have been like the head votes, so then they get to like pick the teams and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that Joel Embiid would probably be the one in that scenario to be on the bench. But obviously when you're with comparison with those guys, like you're still doing something right.
And then for guards on the West.
I think there are some surprises for the guards on the West. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is playing phenomenal. He's always been one of my favorite players.
I think you had mentioned him at the beginning of last season when we talked about him.
Because I've just seen the potential. He's a big guard. He's like 6'5", plays at a really good pace. I like the types of players that like a Luka or a LeBron, like they just read the defense really well, and he can just get to his spots, and he's a phenomenal mid-range shooter.
Yeah.
So he just has really put the league on notice, and he's averaging like 31 a game.
Yeah.
Like he's a star player right now. He needs to I think he needs to be a starter, but it's going to be tough. Because I'm looking at the list right now, you got, I think in the same scenario, Steph, Luka, and Ja.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't have that many guards.
And when we're talking about fan votes too, that's the other thing. I think obviously Steph, has one of the highest fan votes right now, as well as Luka, just because of the way they are like those players who make those incredible plays that you've never seen before, and that's what fans like.
Yeah, and they're on. Shai is also, he's on OKC, so they're kind of at this moment in time, they're not really considered by most as like a potential NBA champion or so he's kind of on a bad team right now, but
what has surprised me the most is, I don't want to say the downfall because there's no downfall, but like Damian Lillard, I just feel like hasn't become that star player I think that he was at one point or was supposed to become.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me, do you think it's because of the team that he's on?
I don't think it's the team. I mean, they did lose CJ. But they did bring in like Gary Payton the second and a couple good role players. I think that he's just been hurt. Like he hasn't been playing a lot. He got hurt last year, and then this year they started off hot. Like we said, they were the top of the West, and then he did get hurt again. I don't know specifically if he's playing right now, but he was hurt for like 3 or 4 weeks. And when that happens,
I think he is back.
Okay, well that's good to hear. But either way, I think that he can only do so much when you're a 6'3" guard.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can't Giannis it. Like Giannis is 7 foot and just take over the game.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more difficult when you're that size in the NBA, but it's tough.
But I feel like there are a lot of similar sizes to him. I mean, you look at someone, obviously Steph is a phenomenal shooter, but you look at someone like Steph, Dame used to shoot like that.
Yeah.
When his career first started out.
I think he is. I just think that, one, the Blazers aren't doing well as a team, and if you're not doing well as a team, you're not being talked about.
Well, that's why everyone wanted him to leave. And everyone was so confused as to why he wasn't leaving. And
because he's just a die-hard loyal guy, which to me, I don't really understand.
That's like old school basketball.
If I was a player, I mean, yes, of course, you're grateful for the fact that a team drafted you, but at some point, I feel like you should go somewhere that's going to give you the best possible position, because when they made that trade away, they traded away C.J. McCollum, I thought that was kind of them stepping back a little bit.
Yeah.
And they did bring in some pieces, but it's just, if I was Dame, I would have left, but he's just not that type of guy, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see any new guys like De'Aaron Fox. I don't know if he'll get in because obviously the Kings are doing good, but those will be fringe guys. We'll see. I mean, obviously there are a lot of votes to still come in and a couple more games to still be played. So, but I'm excited to watch. I mean, the All-Star game has been really fun to watch the past couple of years.
You think so?
You don't think so?
No.
I think so.
I don't like it. It's
the last one, LeBron hit the game winner.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of defense in the All-Star game.
Okay, no, but that's why they made it.
In the NBA,
they changed it. That's why they made it each quarter. Like you have to win the quarters. So it's like you play to a certain point total, like for the quarter.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're forced to play to
when
what is it?
When did they change that? That was just last year.
2 years ago. Oh. Yeah, I think it was for the Kobe year or something. I think and the fourth quarter they played till 24. So all of them really clamped down on defense and start playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to watch, and we'll see how it goes. But now let's get into our mid-season awards.
So we did preseason awards.
Yep.
And now we're gonna do mid-season awards. But it's interesting to me because I feel like half of our players are the same, and then the other half are completely different.
Yep.
But that's how it rolls. All right, MVP.
Yes, so I think I started with Luka.
Yes, you
did. Luka is phenomenal. I think he's number 2 currently on this race.
In the running.
Quote unquote race.
Yeah.
I would say, though, Nikola Jokic is number 1 right now because the Nuggets are the number 1 team in the West. He's averaging 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 9.8 assists. I'm just going to round up there. He's averaging a triple-double right now. And he's doing it shooting, I think, 63% from the field. He's doing it at a phenomenal clip.
Yeah.
So, as crazy as it seems to, I would hate, 3 in a row, it's just kind of boring to see, in my opinion. I would love for a new guy to get it. I'm a big fan of Luka, but it's hard to ignore the fact that, I mean, damn, what Jokic is doing is pretty insane. And especially how, he's just, a weird player, because he's, he can barely probably jump onto a curb, but he's out there doing this.
He's to me, if you look at him, I'd be like, wow, that guy's really uncoordinated.
He'll just fling up a little thing and it just drops in.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I have Luka, and it's no surprise here. He's the only other player to clear 32.5 points, 8 assists, and 60 true shooting points in a season since Michael Jordan's 1888-89 season. He's putting up Jordan numbers right now. Everyone in the league and every fan is looking at him because of what he's doing. He's, I'd say right now, one of the most exciting players to watch. You know what I like about him the most? Out of any player I've watched, even my own Celtics, he just it looks like he's having the time of his life. He looks like it's just fun to him. Yeah. He looks like a kid who's out in a park playing basketball for fun.
Yeah.
When you watch him play. And I don't think any other player just loves the game like that. I don't know how to explain
It's when he hits a game-winning shot, and normally that's when players put on their mean mug face, and
he's has a big smile on his face, and he just is a kid out there having fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think people really like him right now, and like I just said, he is putting up Jordan numbers.
Yeah, and he did have that big 60-point, 20 rebound, 11 assist game. Don't get me wrong, he's insane.
And I think there's this misconception that for someone to necessarily win it, their team also has to be thriving. But I think he's almost gets looked at more because his team isn't doing as well, but he as an individual is.
I think
which is kind of what the MVP award is.
Mm-hmm. I think he currently is like what LeBron was back in his early Cleveland days, where it's just like you just are that guy and your team isn't great around you, but you're just keeping them afloat. So I hear you there, and Luka could potentially take over Jokic, I think. I mean, he'll probably have more of the kind of the narrative side, just
That's
because.
And you know, what do I always say?
I know,
There's got to be a story.
I know the narrative. It's always got to be a story. I get it. So, I mean, just because Jokic has one of the past 2 years, Luka is doing really good. So, I think he has that edge, but we'll see. Okay, so now we got Defensive Player of the Year. So, I have Nick Claxton. This one's tough. A lot of people are saying Jaren Jackson, but Nick Claxton is averaging 2.7 blocks per game and is really helping keep the Nets are the number 4 team in the East, and he's really their defensive anchor for them. And I think that without him, like they're already thin, like have a thin front line. So without him, like they would have nothing at the rim. They wouldn't be able to do anything. And I think he leads all of the NBA in blocks. He does, because Jaren Jackson is. He hasn't played enough games.
Yeah, because he was out for 14 games.
He has a higher average. So Jaren averages 3.3. I think he has obviously the ability to catch Claxton, but as of right now, I'm rolling with my guy Nick Claxton.
Okay, well I have Jaren Jackson.
Okay.
So we know he missed the first 14 games of this season. The Grizzlies, talking about keeping their team afloat defensively, the Grizzlies were ranked 21st in defense in the NBA before Jackson made his debut.
Okay.
And they're in second now.
That is very impressive.
So talking about keeping, he is the defensive anchor for sure on that Grizzlies team. They've moved up in the West to the second spot. They are starting, like I said, to bridge a gap between that third team. And I think in part that has to do with him.
Yeah. Well, I'm rooting for him. I mean, he's been hurt the past couple of years.
It is a change. It's a change. Like we always, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is really good, though. I mean, if you're averaging over 3 blocks a game, like, you're a phenomenal defender. So, now we got Rookie of the Year. I think we're both pretty hand in hand here. I think everyone who watches basketball would say that Paolo Banchero on the Magic, rookie for the Magic, went to a local high school, actually near mine, O'Dea High School. So,
really?
Yeah, he's a baller. But he's killing it. He's literally like LeBron in his rookie year. He's averaging like 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists.
Yeah.
He's just, I've been saying since he was at Duke, like this guy is just an NBA
and he said
build.
it. He himself actually said it after he got drafted when all these, he was feuding with someone. I can't remember. On Twitter, he was feuding with someone and
maybe
he said it.
Chet or something
I
who
don't
wanted
know,
to be
but
the number 1
he said
pick.
It. And
well, he is. He's 6'10". He has a
Yeah.
handle. He can shoot.
Yeah.
He bullies people in the post, but then he'll also fade away, hit a Kobe fade away, and then will also hit a step back hard and 3. Like if he matures, like he's like 20 years old right now.
He's a little bit like LeBron, huh?
He is I think he kind of went under the radar. Like everyone thought Zion Williamson. Blah, blah. He'll be the next LeBron. I think Paolo.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously no one will be the next LeBron because he's the GOAT, but
I don't think so, but that's okay.
Either way, he's I think head and shoulders above all other rookies right now, and he's got a phenomenal career.
I mean, we do our research before we come on this show, and I don't think there was one article that had any other player other than Paulo.
It wouldn't make sense. So he's for sure the runaway rookie, best rookie. So
definitely. Okay, Coach of the Year.
Yeah, you want to go first?
This is funny because speaking of doing our research, it was literally between the 2 coaches that we both picked. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Okay, so I have the Cavs, JB Bickerstaff. I think what he's done with the Cavs program in general, I know you like a lot of the Cavs players, but I
love
don't
the Cavs. I think they're so good.
Yeah, but I wouldn't look at them and be like, they have like stars. You know what I mean? I think that they play really well with the people that they have, and I think it has to do with their coach entirely.
I think Donovan Mitchell might have something to say about that after dropping 71 points. I think he's a star. I mean, I know what you mean, though, because when you think about the Cavs, like, they did miss the playoffs last year, so right now they're a top 5 team in the East, and they're doing extremely well. But But yeah, they did get Donovan Mitchell over the offseason, and that's obviously helped them a ton too. But yeah, he's a really good coach. They're a phenomenal defensive team. I think they're like the third best behind
Well, they were
Milwaukee.
not projected to be anywhere close to it. They were supposed to be like middle to lower this season. At least that was projected.
Yeah.
And they're top 6 now?
Yes.
I think 5. They're 5.
They're the number 5 team right now. I think
Yeah.
that they'll probably shoot up that board as the season goes on. Maybe it's like the 3 or 4 seed. But yeah, I've always been a big fan whenever they had that front court of Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, and then now they have Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like
the addition of Donovan Mitchell obviously helps a lot.
Yeah.
But even last year, we had so many conversations about them because they weren't a bad team. They were pretty damn good.
No, I always saw the potential in them, and I think that
So you get the addition of Donovan Mitchell.
Yes.
I don't want to call. I don't know.
Huh? You don't think what?
I think he can. I don't know. I think he can be like a. When I say star, I'm talking about like Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, like you know what I mean? Like every team, well not every team, but some of the best teams right now. You have Jason Tatum on the Celtics, Giannis on the Bucks. You know what I mean? I think Donovan Mitchell kind of fell. I don't know if it's because of the
I hear what
team
you're saying,
that he was
and
on.
I think those so those players become Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, like they become those guys by doing what they do in the playoffs.
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
he does have to do that in the playoffs, and I think he's come short for the Jazz the past couple years. That's why they broke up the team. So that's correct. He does need to show what he does in the playoffs, but I think the team that he's on right now is a lot better than what he had in the Jazz, and he's got a lot more players that he can kick to really shot create. When I didn't think he had that.
If you obviously having talent is important on the team, but I think the quality of coaching that is being provided to the Cavs right now is exceptional, and I think he'll win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, well, that's a good pick. I have Willie Green, who is the coach of the New Orleans Pelicans. I think people definitely thought that they were going to be better than they were last year, but to be a number 3 team in the West right now, I think is showing how well he's kind of kept everyone together, and it's a really young team. I mean, Zion,
a very young team.
Brandon Ingram.
But they have. I mean, what's hard to look at with the Pelicans is these were all guys who were phenomenal in college, right? And then I feel like the Pelicans have just not had a good run, only because they've had so many injuries.
Yes.
Like if you look at all the players that have been injured, I mean, I always
Zion.
and
didn't make the play or wasn't in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. I always thought Brandon Ingram was the length that he has. He reminds me so much of Kevin Durant.
Yeah, most people would say. Yeah. He is. He's like a Kevin Durant type of player, and I think a really underrated and not talked about enough was C.J. McCollum. Because I mean, the Blazers.
Well, that was a huge loss for the Blazers.
Yeah, huge loss for the Blazers, and it's like people forget, the Blazers were in the Western Conference Championship when it was Dame and CJ.
They were.
CJ is really good.
Against
and
Toronto,
he brings that veteran leadership to a team that is really young. You throw that along with Willie Green, who's just keeping his guys in check and making sure everything's going according to plan. And
I feel like it's a similar story to the Cavs, both these teams. It's the quality of coaching is bringing a bunch of talent as a unit, if that makes sense.
100%, because they're both young teams, and you need the coach to kind of help.
Yeah, definitely.
Make that all work.
Yeah, I would be happy with either of those coaches winning, honestly.
Yeah. And now we got 6th man. Alex chose to copy my pick.
Andrew said it from the beginning. Andrew said it from the beginning. I'll give you the credit for that. I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, or Malcolm Brogdon.
I was seeing a lot of Malcolm Brogdon, but for me personally, I would say Russell Westbrook. I would say the only thing that can hurt him is
how bad the Lakers are.
Yeah, exactly. If the Lakers don't make the play-in, at least, they better make the play-in.
But you know why? The only reason I don't think Malcolm Brogdon is because the Celtics have so much depth besides him coming off the bench that the Lakers don't have, and that's why I feel like Russell Westbrook is being kind of looked at more for that position because the Lakers don't have that depth off the bench. So it's when Russell Westbrook comes in, that's this clear 6th man. You know what I mean?
100%.
I think that switch to putting him on the bench has been the best thing for his career. He's averaging the least amount of minutes he's ever averaged in his entire career. And he's obviously playing much better than when he started in LA.
It's given him a new
role.
He has a new role and just something to embrace. Like right now,
I think he's been humbled a little bit.
Slightly, I think he got humbled, but also it's just like right now he leads the sixth men in like all triple doubles all time. Like I feel it gives him something new to like stamp his name on now. Like Russell Westbrook, like not third option. He's like, I'm sixth man. Like, and he's like, I'm gonna kill that role, and he has. He's doing really good for the Lakers. Honestly, don't even know what's wrong with the Lakers. It's like, I feel like they're not that bad.
I just said it's too much talent. Like that's how I feel. Like it's the case if you've been in sports your whole life. Like sometimes you have too much talent, and I feel like we've talked about it on the show so many times. Sometimes too many egos causes a problem, and I just feel like AD also like is always hurt. I'm sorry. Someone has to say he's always hurt.
He is.
At some point, like I get when he's not hurt, he's amazing. But like, is it
and
worth the fact that he's always hurt?
Yeah. Well, to lead into our next topic, so we both have Russell Westbrook there, but what teams should be maybe trading away? Like, should the Lakers be okay? We want to get rid of Russell, or we want to get rid of AD.
I don't think they should be getting rid of Russell Westbrook.
I think the Lakers are one of the teams that need to be trying to trade for a player, not trade away players right now. So
you know what the problem is they have. Obviously, they have like LeBron, they have AD, but these guys are getting old. They are. Well, LeBron is not in his prime anymore.
Tell that. What are you talking about?
No, he's not.
Okay, he doesn't impact it as much on the defensive side, but the dude is averaging like 32 a game. He's averaging. Okay, we're not. This isn't gonna become a LeBron segment right now, so I'm not gonna defend LeBron. LeBron's still LeBron. But okay, the Lakers, I think they need to add more shooting. He needs help. LeBron's the only one keeping them afloat. AD's on the bench. Russell's obviously good.
See,
but
for me, if I look at the Lakers, I'm starting over.
I don't know how you can start over.
What happened to Michael Jordan? He was not bad, but he didn't have the guys he used to have, right, when he was on the Bulls. And then he kind of started to fall apart a little. Not fall apart. I mean, he was still as good as he was, but his team wasn't performing. I feel like it's like a similar story with LeBron. Obviously not to compare the two because they're always compared, but like I would just start over.
Yeah, well, I don't think LeBron wants that. I think he's
looking to win now. It's time.
I think the Lakers should trade away.
Right now. The NBA is so young right now.
I get it, but LeBron's still putting up all those numbers that all those young guys are doing. The only difference is his star player can't be healthy and his other star player can't shoot. Shooting.
I say you trade for a new player, and I honestly would let go of AD. But
that's an interesting topic.
But then you look at other teams. Are they even going to want Anthony Davis? Because literally he hasn't even played a full season. He hasn't even played a full season.
He was putting up like 55 and like 25
But then he's hurt again.
I get it, but teams will trade for talent, guaranteed.
Yeah. But what if your talent can't even play? Well, he's not going to get the money. He's not going to get the money that I don't think he'll get as much money anywhere he goes.
No, I mean, he's hurt his stock. I'm not trying to say if he was a healthy player, his stock wouldn't be higher, but like he's still a phenomenal player that teams would trade for. I wouldn't do that yet. I would hope that they can make a run in this particular playoff series, if they can make it. And then, I don't know, I feel like a team that should be looking to trade away players, funny enough, I think the Blazers. I think the Blazers should maybe think about getting rid of like a Jeremiah Grant or Damian Lillard.
That's a team I think needs to just like gut their team
and start. We're talking about a team that needs to restart. I think
there's a lot.
I would say the Blazers need to probably cut ties with what they're doing. But and then finally
the Pistons.
They
need to gut their team. Well, they
already gutted their team.
I guess they do have really new guys. They got that player from Auburn. No. Who did they get?
They got Cade Cunningham.
Yes.
He's from I don't know where he played.
Well, I think they're a team.
Number one pick.
I think they're a team who should look into trading, getting some some role players. They don't need a star. I don't think that that's going to happen, but I think they need to look into getting
Jaden Ivey. That's who
Jaden Ivey. Yeah.
So they already have a good backcourt. I think they're trying to tank for Victor Wembanyama. Yeah. Okay, I said that real wrong, but the 7'5" guy. You know? Okay, well either way, let's just get into our next topic, which was NBA Finals matchups. What do you have?
Well, mine's normal. Yours is a little crazy.
So I'll save my for
Yours is a hot take.
A little bit of a hot take.
I have Celtics Grizzlies.
Okay.
I think with the way that the Celtics are performing right now, they can make it. They can. They've been, and they're my team, so I can get frustrated about this. They have been so close every year.
Yeah.
And funny enough, someone just asked me, what's the problem? And like I just said, I really think that the biggest problem is if you can get Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to perform together in the same game, we'd win.
Yeah, well,
we have the most depth out of any NBA team, I think.
Well, you're just a really well-coached team. You have the star power.
Which, funny enough, we've gotten like 3 new coaches in the last 3 years.
Like star coaches every year. But I mean, defensively, you guys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So and then obviously, the Grizzlies are a good pick too.
And Jason Tatum obviously needs to continue performing. He can't be as inconsistent as he was last year's playoffs.
You guys just keep inching closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, and we've kind of pulled away right now from the Bucks.
Yeah.
We'll go on runs, though, which could be dangerous in the playoffs because you can go on a run where you beat a team 4-0 and then you go on a losing run. So.
Okay, well.
Yeah, and then the Grizzlies are so good. That would be like such a good defensive matchup. I feel like having the Celtics and the Grizzlies would be really interesting to see.
Yeah, that would be a fun matchup for sure. Jason Tatum, Brown, all those guys. But yeah, I definitely went a little bit of a wild card pick. Yeah, I chose the Brooklyn Nets and the New Orleans Pelicans. So definitely 2 wild card teams. The Nets, they obviously have had some issues of, they've had some issues of, obviously, the Kyrie situation and not enough consistency from a lot of their players. But sorry about that, guys. We're having a little mic issue. But I think that they've kind of put it together this year with Kyrie and KD playing really well. They're the number 4 team in the East, and if they do put it all together, I mean, that's like the best scoring duo by far in the NBA.
Yeah.
So if you...
Well, it's similar to the Celtics, I feel like.
Yeah, they can be anyone. They almost... The year Milwaukee won it, they were probably a toe away from making it to the finals.
Yeah.
If KD hits that shot and it's a 3.
Yeah.
So I think that it's obviously a wild card because you never know what's going to happen with Kyrie, or it's like, can they, really put it all together?
And
I'm taking the bet right now that they will.
And we talked about it too at the beginning. They just had so much controversy surrounding them at the beginning of the season that I feel like it kind of took over for the actual talent and depth of the team. And I feel like now that that's all kind of behind them, they're actually like able to perform.
They're just playing basketball now, and they're showing that they're real hoopers. And then on the flip side, the West, I have the Pelicans, which for sure is a new team, but really they could beat anybody. Like, Zion is a beast. We got
the youngins versus
Brandon Ingram.
The veterans.
Yeah, so I think like everyone could throw the Grizzlies around. Like people, I feel like everyone does love the Grizzlies, but like the Pelicans are just as good as the Grizzlies in my opinion.
I'd love to see KD and Brandon Ingram go toe to toe. I feel like
that would be really fun, and I think that Zion, if he can stay healthy, that he's gonna pop off and really show everyone what he's about. So
definitely,
we'll have to see what happens, but that's who we got, and let's go into NFL topics. I would say so. A lot of games happened this over the break. We had the Cowboys and the Bucks, my Seahawks and the Niners, the Vikings and the Giants, Bengals and the Ravens, tons of games going around. I would say I was really bummed to watch my Seahawks lose to the Niners, but also somewhat not surprised.
Well, we can start there, actually, now that you brought it up. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think this is way early in the season, but.
I think the Niners can either win the Super Bowl this year or they might lose to the Cowboys. But just because that's such a good matchup, I feel like the Cowboys and the Niners. But their defense is so impressive.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can say, I think Brock Purdy is, like, definitely...
Yeah, here goes Debo, just killing my team. That was actually a hold, I will just say, on Tyree Woolen. I was pissed when I saw that, but, you know, it's okay.
Okay, but let's just, I want to just focus on the Niners for a second because I actually have so much to say about the Niners right now.
Let's hear.
So you get Brock Purdy in, right? You got your third-string quarterback, and I think that he's good. Do I think he's, like, as amazing as people are saying? No. I think you have an offensive line like the 49ers have. You have Christian McCaffrey next to you. You have Deebo Samuel. What he has is really good pocket awareness.
Yeah, I agree.
Phenomenal. He's very confident for a rookie. His pocket awareness is exceptional, and I'd say it's better than most veteran quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And he moves really well. Like, he understands when he needs to get out of the pocket and scramble, and he understands when to step into the pocket and kind of find someone.
I agree, and a lot of people throw around the fact that, oh, you know, he's taking on the nine. I mean, yes, he does have all of those weapons, but he could easily fumble the bag. He's not fumbling the bag at all. He's literally lifting them up.
Like his confidence for a rookie is, like, really something I haven't seen before.
Yeah, he's killing it, and they're a dangerous team. But I mean, we'll get into our matchups for next week. But
the Seahawks didn't look.
No,
I honestly thought that they would lose by more.
We were up at halftime.
Yeah,
we were up by 1
you guys did, and
halftime.
I think the Geno Smith thing is just good for them right now. I think obviously eventually they'll have to move away from that because I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl with him.
No.
But he's a veteran quarterback. He understands. He got the team to the playoffs when most people thought you guys were going to be horrible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I hope we draft a quarterback, roll with Geno for like 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think
build up a quarterback,
being under Geno
and then so we
would
have
be
something for the future. But
yeah, definitely. Okay, Cowboys Bucks.
A little. I was hopeful that the Bucks could probably knock off the Cowboys just because I don't like the Cowboys.
The Cowboys looked really good.
They did.
Dak, that was the best I think I've ever seen him. First of all, he's got a cannon of an arm.
He does, but he can also throw it to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, picks for sure. But obviously they looked really good, and you can also say that the Bucks just looked really bad, right? You know, you can go both ways. But I think that the Cowboys defense and the Niners defense are just top tier right now, and I think it would take, like, I'm interested to see this next game because it would take a seriously good offense to beat either of those teams.
Yeah. And I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably talk about it a little bit more in detail because I do think that with Brock Purdy as a rookie, that he does, even though he hasn't thrown a ton of picks, there are definitely some balls that I'm like, damn, that could have been picked. Damn, that could have been picked. Damn, that could have been picked. And the Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL at takeaways. So if they get like 2
and
picks
Micah Parsons with that pass rushing too.
If they get 2 or 3 turnovers, that's the type of stuff that changes games.
Yeah,
and,
definitely. It changes the momentum of the game for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off to the Vikings and Giants. Holy moly.
What is it? Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Kirk. Playoff
but you
Kirk.
know what? He actually didn't play bad. Kirk himself was not that bad.
No, but he just did exactly what he does. He plays.
He's
good
average.
Like his numbers are like.
It's average.
He played good, right? But
But their defense did not look good. The Giants looked good.
Yeah.
Which is so weird to say. Oh my God, the Giants are moving on to the second
Dimes.
round of the playoffs. But you know what? He's really not. He gets a really bad rap.
Danny Dimes.
Yes.
I think people are loving him now.
He has to develop his arm a little bit more, but he runs the ball pretty well.
He's up there with the best of them, I think, of Josh Allen and Lamar.
He's not afraid to run the ball at all, and I think it's been really beneficial for them.
Yeah.
Saquon looked.
Well, Saquon has always been projected to be that player. Injuries have held him back, but this year he's finally kind of taken it by the league by storm. And yeah, they're a gritty team and they're a tough team, a very well coached team, probably by the coach of the year. and they're playing a division rival in the Eagles. Like, obviously the Eagles have beat them twice now, but who knows? I mean, it's the playoffs. You never know, and the Giants are playing really good right now.
Not to say that having a bye can't be beneficial, but I also think it can be kind of harmful when you like have picked up this momentum and then you just don't play when another team did play last week.
And it's not like the Eagles were going in with a lot of momentum anyway. They had lost Jalen Hurts. They lost their last. I think they won their last game, but previously before that they lost 2. Yeah. So they weren't on some crazy hot streak going into the playoffs. Yeah. So
we'll get into that.
We will get into that.
Bills and Dolphins. Yeah, that was a really exciting game to watch, actually.
That was the one that I was surprised with, just based off the fact that how close it was, and that really the Bills.
I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I think Skylar Thompson actually might look better than Tua. I just think Tua's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have pocket awareness.
Well, he definitely.
Of that. But, like, I think if you can develop Skylar Thompson, I think it could actually turn out to be a good ordeal for the Dolphins. Their offensive line is just really bad. And their defense surprisingly didn't do as bad as I thought that they would do. But their defense also is not good.
Yeah.
But I will say, Josh Allen did not look good.
Well,
he needs to protect the ball.
He slings it, and it can either be a good thing, and it's like, oh my God, look at that pass. Or it's like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, but even when he runs the ball, like, he needs to protect the ball a little bit more. I feel like he has made some decisions recently as we've gotten into the latter of the season that have been very questionable and not like the quarterback we saw at the beginning of the season, but maybe that's what people love about him. He's a huge risk taker, I'd say.
Yeah.
But I did not think he looked very good.
Well, I think he was good enough. It's the turnovers, because he still is, like, the yards are there, the touchdowns are there. Like, he's still a really good player and can put the team on his back.
Yeah.
But he can also kind of, by doing that, almost hurt the team because he's trying to do too much.
Yeah.
So, obviously, a big game for them next week against the Bengals that we'll get into. But
yeah, Bengals-Ravens.
Bengals-Ravens, that was closer than I thought, too, especially with Lamar not playing.
Yeah, that's the only reason that kind of worries me about, like, the Bengals going forward. Just because, like, you almost lost to the Ravens without Lamar, and Lamar, I feel like, is a major factor.
I would say that even if you look at last year, though, the Bengals, all of their wins
were always close.
Were really close.
Yeah.
So I think they got a guy in Joe Burrow.
They're like the Giants, I feel like, a little bit. Like, obviously better than the Giants, but I think they're a gritty team.
They are.
Like, they'll get it done. And it's interesting to see, too, because obviously when all the DeMar Hamlin thing happened, like, they were beating the Bills, and it would have been interesting to see, like, how that game would have played out.
Yeah.
But that first quarter, before all that stuff happened, they were looking pretty good. So.
Yeah, and then now we got the Chargers and the Jags. I think that was the big one. That was like, holy crap.
I thought the Chargers had it in the bag.
I think everyone did.
Yeah, they fired their offensive coordinator right after that game.
Wow.
Yeah, Joey Bosa had words to say, too, about officiating, which is kind of like, I can understand watching the game, but at the same time, you're up 21-0. Or was it 21 or 20? No, 21-0.
They were up 27-0.
27-0.
27-0.
And then you lose. Like, that's also, that's also a defensive problem, and that your offense.
That's an everybody problem. That's your offense couldn't get one more touchdown. Your defense couldn't get one more stop. Your coach couldn't just. Come on, guys. Come on. Like, just get your guys together.
Yeah, well, I think what happened was once the Jags got that momentum going, I was watching the game. They looked pretty good. I mean, he was slinging that
to start,
ball.
Though. I mean,
yes,
4
absolutely.
interceptions.
But imagine that, Trevor Lawrence, 4 interceptions in the first half, and then what happened?
4 touchdowns in the second. That's crazy. I don't think anyone expected it except for maybe Chargers fans who watched their team. Because I know a Chargers fan.
My roommate's a Chargers fan, and she's like, oh, God, I just knew something was going to happen.
Because they do blow a lot of leads.
Yeah.
And, maybe. I don't know, Justin Herbert, I think people really love that arm.
The coach has came out and said that he will be happy to have Herbert stay he wants him to be their franchise quarterback.
I don't think it's the coach. I think it's Herbert's there to stay. I think it's the coach.
Well, they just fired the offensive coordinator, so maybe there was something happening with the OC, you know?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe there were play calls that, you know, head coach and Justin Herbert himself did not think were good play calls, so.
Yeah.
Interesting to see that.
A lot of crazy games in that wild card week. But now we're looking forward. What should we be looking forward to? What is
so mine is
the best games?
The Niners Cowboys, just because, as I mentioned before, like defensively, I think that is such a strong matchup. It'd be interesting to see which offense will be able to pull off the win, because I think that's what it's going to come down to, is like which offense is going to be able to kind of level up the defense and, you know, whatnot. But yeah, that's what I'm most excited for.
I'm really excited for that one. I think everyone is, but I put down the Bills and the Bengals. I think you gotta.
And we also didn't get to see that game really, you know, during the season.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen. So this is us getting to watch that game for the first time, and kind of like a clash of the Titans, I'd say, at quarterback with Joe Burrow and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
I think this would be, I mean, obviously the media is going to eat it up because it's just like everyone loves that type of stuff, and it's the quarterback. But two really good teams. Obviously, we didn't get to see him play with that tragic Damar Hamlin situation. And then, I don't know, I got the Bengals. Who do you have in?
I have the Niners.
You do have the Niners, okay.
We actually took a poll on our Instagram account to see which game would be the most game that was the most hyped up for, excited for, and the Bills and Bengals game did take it in first, and then the Niners and Cowboys game did come in second. So so most of you are excited for the Bills versus Bengals game.
Yes, that would be exciting.
Which both of those games, I think Bills and Bengals game is going to be more of an offensive game, and then I feel like the 49ers and Cowboys game is going to be more of a defensive game. So I think it's going to be like two completely different situations, which will be really exciting.
Unless you just jinxed it and right there, and now it'll be the opposite.
Flip.
I feel like that always happens. But okay, so with that being said, who do you think kind of makes it out of these next few rounds and ends up being the Super Bowl matchup? Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it, because I really dislike the Chiefs, I do think it will be Kansas City versus the Niners.
Okay.
Which I think would be such a good game, only because you have like super offense versus super defense.
Yeah.
So I think that would be like, honestly, like Nick Bosa, like that matchup and pass rushing with how good Patrick Mahomes is at scrambling. I think that would be like a really fun game to watch.
That would for sure be a star-studded matchup. I think, like, oh my God. I mean, no one can complain about that. I went a little bit of a different route. I got the Bengals and the Cowboys, which, man, to say the Cowboys in the Super Bowl kind of is hard, but at the same time they
normally choke like first round of playoffs.
But this year is a little bit different with the fact that, like, if they're playing at their best, if they don't choke, they can beat everyone.
Absolutely.
They can beat anyone. They can beat the Niners.
The way that Dak looked against the Bucs, if he can keep that up, obviously the Bucs defense is
not as good as the Niners.
Not as good as what he's going to face this upcoming game, but he did look really good.
Yeah, but if you want to throw your name in the elite conversation, these are the games that you got to play good. So it's like, Dak, this is your moment.
Yeah.
Like, go take it. And it's not going to be all on him. He's going to need CD to show up. He's going to need, Gallup to show up. He's going to need Pollard and Zeke to show up.
Their tight end, I'm sorry, I have Schultz. To say, in that game against the Bucs, I think showed out more than any other receiver on that field. They were throwing to their tight end a lot.
They got good chemistry for sure.
And he's great.
Yeah. He's phenomenal. Yeah,
and
Dalton
I think
Schultz is
coming into a game where you have a really good defense and where someone like CeeDee Lamb and Gallup, are going to have really good DBs on them. I think that's where you utilize your tight end the most.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting matchup for sure because, if you really look at the defense, they're just stacked everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's possible to beat them. I mean, the Chiefs has beat them. The Raiders put up some points against them, but they still are on an 11-game win streak since they got McCaffrey. So it's like, really, that they are the cream of the crop right now. So I'm picking the underdog in this situation, but
I think, there's that like rivalry that has kind of started between the Bengals and the Chiefs a little bit, like Mahomes and Burrow. within the last 2 years, I'm pretty sure. So that would be really interesting to see too. And the Bengals went in and beat the Chiefs this year during the season, didn't they?
He's 3-0 against Mahomes.
Yeah. So if the Bengals come out against the Bills, that would be another crazy matchup. It's kind of fun this year because, I've actually been tuning into the NFL, I think more so than I have previous years, just because I felt like I just love my college sports. I think they're more exciting. Yeah. But I think this year the NFL has been pretty exciting.
It has been crazy, and I'm hoping that we get
the Giants, it's just so, I don't know.
The Giants.
I'd actually like to see the Giants kind of take a run.
Maybe Danny Dimes is kind of the next Eli Manning, kind of just that average-looking guy, nothing crazy, but he just leads him to a championship.
But he's the only one to beat Tom Brady and his brother. So.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, I'm hoping for the Bengals, Chiefs, so it's Burrow, Mahomes, and then the Cowboys and the Eagles. I just think that would be an insane matchup both ways. Yeah. And then obviously the Super Bowl. Yeah. Bengals, Cowboys.
I don't like that the Niners and the Cowboys have been matched up so early. I think it would have been so much more fun if they met in the conference championship.
I think that this helps the Cowboys, actually.
You do.
Because I feel their matchup with the Eagles would be, just because they're in division, in the same division, that it's just those games are always tougher. You just see each other much more often. You know the personnel. You just So I feel that game is a much more winnable game for the Cowboys at that point in time. I feel getting, get them before that they really get the ball rolling. You know, if the Niners win this game and then the next, they're not going to lose. At that point.
Yeah, I do agree with that. This is why it's so fun this year, is because it could literally go anyway. It can go any direction. It's not there's two teams that you're they're gonna make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this has been a really fun year of football, and I think everyone's excited for this weekend to see how it all plays out.
I'm super excited. Well, to wrap up our NFL segment here, we're going to get ready to bring on a guest, our first guest of the season. So we will be right back with that for you.
My boy.
So on this week's episode, we're going to be presenting a very special guest for y'all. Please welcome to the show, Zack Tyree.
Hello, baby.
Thanks for having me.
Hello, of course. So nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Of the season.
I know, I feel honored. I feel honored.
It's a very special moment for sure.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay, so to start off,
tell us a little bit about yourself.
So your name, grade, kind of, what sport you play for.
Yeah, so name's Zack Tyree, senior on campus. I've known Andrew since freshman year. Yeah. Big brother. I'm a senior in kinesiology with emphasis in exercise science. Cool. I'm on a path for pediatric PA. Wow. Yeah, I love working with kids, and PA makes a little bit more money than PT, so you got to chase the bag. And then I play for the club soccer team on campus.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the sport, not just here, but in general, and why you're so passionate about soccer.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. Soccer wasn't my main sport. Growing up, I was a baseball player. And 8th grade year, my mom was like, you need to have another sport to keep your time because I'm tired of you in the house. So I just picked up soccer, because it was just I can get in shape for the baseball season. And I started playing in a club 8th grade year. Yeah. And then high school, in Montana, we don't actually have high school baseball. So it's a spring summer sport because obviously it gets cold. Yeah. And in the fall, there's no baseball going on. Yeah. So soccer was kind of the option in high school, and I just kind of picked it up, just kind of ran with it from there on, and didn't really enjoy baseball as much as I enjoyed soccer because I'm a very competitive person. I know Andrew can attest to that too when we played basketball.
That's a fact. Yeah.
Baseball's a little slower.
It's a little bit slower, and then soccer, I just really enjoyed the competitiveness of it, and I just kind of loved that it was a global game. I really loved that everyone could play it, and that's kind of what led me to where I'm at now on the team.
Yeah. So is there a coach or athlete that you potentially look up to, within soccer?
Within soccer, probably Pep Guardiola. He's the coach for Man City.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't watch soccer growing up. Like, I'd say in the last 2 years, I kind of picked a Premier team. I started watching it more regularly. And I just really love he's like probably one of the best tactic coaches. And so really understanding how he coaches. I watched, I don't know what the name is on Netflix, but it's with Messi and Pep. It's like the 2009-2011 Barcelona team. It's like, I think it's
I don't know what it's called.
Pass, dribble, pass. And they just kind of break down the tactics they had for that team. So just learning from him has really helped me as a soccer player for the team right now. Gotcha. And then athletes within the sport, it's Messi for me. Like, a lot of people love Ronaldo. I just love Messi.
They're not comparable.
I don't think they're comparable in the sense that I think Ronaldo.
They're two completely different soccer players.
I used to be a Ronaldo guy, but Messi's kind of won me over the past couple years.
And my only argument between the two is Ronaldo, I think, is a better individual soccer player. Of like, he's going to score the crazy goals.
Yeah.
But if your life was on the line and you needed a team to win, your captain's going to be Messi. Messi makes the team better. I mean, I think he did that. A really good display in the World Cup, like the passes that he was making. He was leading in assists, he was leading in goals. Yeah. And then the World Cup, he just put on a show.
Yeah. I mean, soccer is such a, like you said, a global sport. I played soccer my whole life. Funny enough, I actually didn't watch Premier League or anything either. I always watched like the Women's World Cup just because the U.S. is so dominant in women's sports, which actually they haven't been as much recently.
It's been rough for them.
But yeah, I didn't really like watch soccer a lot either. But recently, after this World Cup, there's so many new young players that are really fun to watch. Like Mbappe is like such an exciting player to watch. Yeah. And so I've actually like started to pick it up a little bit more, and it's just, I mean, like you said, it's a global sport. It is the most popular sport in the world. Anyone, you've said it, Andrew, anyone can pick up a ball and go play soccer, you know? So it's definitely a really fun sport.
This World Cup was really cool to see just because I feel like it had so much media attention because it was Messi's last World Cup, it was Ronaldo's last World Cup.
Neymar too.
Neymar, and I think it's no secret that soccer isn't as loved as American football in the United States. Yeah. But so many people watch the World Cup. Like a lot of my friends who have never watched soccer before, they're like, I'm a fan now. Yeah. And I thought that was a really cool experience being someone that loves the game so much. Yeah. Understanding like, oh, I see why you can enjoy watching the sport.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the season of how many people we have seen who, Andrew even said, I never watched soccer, you know? But this World Cup, to see the U.S., obviously they didn't do like amazing, but they, for the first time ever, have professional players who are playing in Europe and who are actually coming back and playing in the U.S. for the World Cup. It's really exciting, and I think there's going to be so much growth for like soccer in the U.S. for men's, because it's already been there for women's, but I do think for men's it's only going to grow.
Yeah, and they were so young. Like the U.S., like the average age was like 24. Yeah. And then they have Tim Ream, who was like 35. Yeah. Which run up the team average, but you look at Pulisic, Tyler Adams,
Adams,
Timothy Way, who scored.
There was a little controversy which we talked about with one of the players, I'm sure you know, but
with Gio? That just sounds like high school drama for no reason.
Literally.
Hopefully we'll get it figured out.
So tell me, what are some like accomplishments and struggles that you've had within the sport, not just here at Boise, but just over your whole life? Maybe like some lessons that the sport has kind of taught you.
Yeah, some lessons would probably be that it's okay not to win. Yeah. I think that's probably been the hardest lesson I've had to learn in life. It's just, like I said, AV knows how competitive I am. Like,
I'm the same way.
The story I always tell people, I used to cheat in Candyland when I was playing my mom. I knew how to stack the decks because I knew the turn. So if mom went and got water, I'd get the good slides and stuff. So I love to win, right? It's a good story to tell.
No, it's funny, dude.
And you're like, that describes them perfectly. Yeah, it does. But no, I love to win. And like at any cost, I'll do anything. And honestly, I've lost some friendships because I've been so competitive, and this team that I'm on right now, they've really helped me understand, like, it's winning isn't everything. Like being, a better friend is more important than being a competitive teammate, and that's a lesson I've really only learned till this year. So I know the guys on the team have really put up with a lot with me, but it's like been a really graceful lesson to learn in this time frame. So I'm not out in the real world, making enemies instead of making friends. So that's like a big lesson that I've learned.
Well, I can say I'm very similar to that too. So
I'm glad, like, dude. It's all about growth. It's all about growth.
Yeah, no, this season is, it's just all about growth. You can always continually learn. Some struggles have been, I think, when we're going back to the support of soccer, it's always been kind of tough because everyone wants to play in front of a big crowd. And in high school, I went to a really small private Catholic school, and we would average like maybe 40 fans a game. And they're usually the parents, which is fine, love having that support. But then you'd go to the Friday night lights on the football games, and there'd be 300 people at the game, and you're just kind of, you'd never understood why your sport couldn't be supported as much. And then even coming here, a club sport is obviously very challenging to get fans to come for. And this is why I'm so grateful for you guys having me on the show, to kind of bring awareness to the team. And, you know, we'd only get like maybe 100 fans or something like that, which is awesome. But we want to, like, we're putting in the work. We want to put on a show for everyone. So that's been a really tough struggle.
Well, speaking of the team, do you guys have any short-term goals you would like to see and accomplish this year as a team?
Yeah, so in the spring season is kind of friendlies and stuff. Fall is when we have conference play.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the best season. We didn't have the worst season. We definitely could have done better, but we played a lot of games. I think we played like 18-some games in the fall.
Wow.
But our goal that we set ahead for the spring is we want to go undefeated. And it's pretty a lofty goal, but you got to set goals for a reason.
Yeah.
We have some pretty big games lined up. We are playing a couple like NAIA schools. We're going to play C of I. We're going to go to WSU, play them. We may even play Spokane Falls, which is like a community college, which we played last spring and ended up tying them. But it's just fun to play that really good competition in the spring when it doesn't really matter and you can grow as a team. And then when you get to the fall, because our conference is actually really challenging. BYU's in our conference, and they've won the national championship for the last 5 years.
Dang.
Yeah, they're a really solid program.
Yeah. So how would you say this team compares to other teams that you've been on in the past?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've played sports my entire life. Grew up playing baseball. I swam in high school, and then soccer, obviously. And I think the team that we have right now, they remind you why you played when you were 5. Like, they bring fun into sports. And I think that's, like, as you get into competitive, you know, you get higher up in the ranks, you kind of forget
that.
You forget why you play. And, you know, I think going back to the lessons I've learned, you know, not everything's about winning. This team has reminded me that. Like, we're waking up at 5:30 every single day, going to practice at 6, and we try to have fun. Like, we laugh. And, you know, we take it seriously, but we're trying to have fun while we're playing. And that's way more important than, you know, for 2 hours just going at each other's throats. So that's why I think this team is so different, because we have such a fun time.
Yeah. When I stopped playing like super competitively my junior year because I got hurt, and then I came here and I was playing and I'm so competitive and I get so angry. I had to remind myself, like, I'm not going to play pro anymore. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the end goal for me. Like, just have fun. And I think that's like, so it's like even as professional athletes, like people who are professional, it's just forgotten sometimes.
Yeah, I really love that point you're talking about with Luka in the basketball segment. Like, he does just enjoy the game. Like, obviously he's a competitor and he wants to win, but he just always has a smile. Like, he'll be driving past someone with a smile. And he's dropping 40 with a smile.
He just has fun, and it's really important, I think. And I think, I don't want to compare it to other countries, but I do think that the U.S. has like kind of gotten so competitive in the sense that, like, as you get older, a lot of players who do come out of the U.S., like, winning is so part of our culture that in other cultures it's not the most important, it's not end all be all. So it's almost like I've noticed, like, a lot of people who have come out of the US like are so focused on winning, you kind of forget, like, it's fun. And then you have someone like Luka who's coming from like a completely different culture, and it's just fun for him. That's why I said he's like a little kid.
They just enjoy it. And I think also, I mean, this goes for any sports in the United States, but a lot of times you have to pay to play. Like, for club sports, it's no secret. We have club dues. Like, that's how you pay for the merchandise and stuff. But if you look at European soccer, a lot of the academies and stuff, like, you get signed to a contract, or, like, you're not necessarily paying to play. So that's why you're able to enjoy it, because the moment you put a dollar amount on anything, it becomes a lot more, like, precious, like, oh, you have to win. So
definitely.
That's why, like, the kids over in Europe, one, they're always going to be better than us, but they enjoy it so much more.
Yeah, definitely.
And
it's not a job for them, you know.
Yeah, so do you have a favorite memory playing all these years with the soccer club?
Probably my favorite memory would be freshman year. Just little freshman Zack, no beard, just excited to be there. And we were playing BYU, and BYU, like I said, we knew they were a good team, and we had really tried to get a lot of fans. Like, in the fraternity, we were just blowing up for Pike. We were trying to get all of our buddies going. My good friend Matt Katz was in Sigma Chi, and got all the Sigma Chi's to come to the game. We probably had like 300 to 400 people at the game, which was like crazy for me, because I've never played in a crowd that big, you know? And campus security got called because they were being too rowdy. Like, it was too rambunctious.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and granted, it wasn't the best, but they dressed up as Mormons with the helmets, and oh my God. But like, and we had fans, and BYU brought an entire bus full of fans, so it was just packed. And halftime, and it was 0-0. And it was the first time BYU has been held scoreless in 65 games. And so we were pumped, like, oh, we're awesome. And then I got subbed in, I think, in like the 74th minute or something like that. I'm probably just making that up. But I got subbed in the second half. And guy's going up the line this way, and I do a slide tackle.
Yeah.
And I get the ball right in front of the student section. So they're going crazy.
Yeah.
And then I pass it down the line, and then they cross it, and we score. So, like, I'm, like, right in front of the student section, just, like, going crazy. I think we were still losing at that point. I think it was, like, 2-1.
Yeah.
But, like, we scored against BYU, and I, like, just having all my friends, like, freak out right in front of me, getting that slide tackle. I got, like, the hockey assist. So that was, like, one of the best memories by far.
Well, that's freaking
That's
awesome, dude.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, like, some fun questions for you that we kind of do with our guests on this show. So tell us, like, what your favorite pregame snack or meal is.
Ooh, I'm a pretty simple person. I can't really, for whatever
Like,
reason.
eat a lot?
Yeah, I can't eat a lot.
Yeah, some people do, some people don't.
I can't. Like, it's probably just gonna be a PB&J, as simple as that sound. I
Wow.
can't do Gatorade. I can't do Gatorade or Powerade. It has to be like water.
Okay.
Yeah, so just like probably PB&J. Like, I really can't eat before like 2 hours before.
PB&J.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I feel, I mean, I'll just eat like a banana and like a protein bar.
Yeah.
I don't eat too much. Because if you have a heavy stomach, it just weighs you down.
Yeah, not as fast, you know. You gotta
Yeah.
be
Of course, you
It
gotta
also depends, like, what time of the, like, if I had a morning game, I normally didn't eat before my games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I had, like, an afternoon game, my mom would always make me eat a sandwich.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the sandwich?
Like, like a turkey. Just like a
Okay.
turkey sandwich. Yeah.
Mayo?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's important. Important question.
Okay, question 2. Pre-game ritual or superstitions that you have?
I'm honestly not superstitious.
Okay.
My best friend Ryan Arzu, superstitious.
What's Ryan's? I honestly don't even know.
He, like, his shoelaces need to be done a certain way.
Really?
I don't know. Man, he's very superstitious.
Okay.
But for me, I just gotta go to the bathroom. Like, that's like 30 minutes before the warm-ups, I gotta go to the bathroom. That's about it.
I got you.
Got
Yeah,
it.
you know-
I
you know
was
the feeling.
I was
PGP.
always had to go right to left. So, like,
good.
I would have to do right sock, left sock,
Really?
right shoe, right shin guard, left shin guard.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Damn, I never had too many. I didn't really have any superstitions, to be honest.
Yeah, I think one that, not like a superstition, but more of like a, to get me in the zone, is actually from CJ Stroud, your boy.
Yeah.
He was talking about, he listens to a song that's Ordinary People by John Legend. And it's not a hype-up song, it's just like a
Gets you
song.
thinking.
It just reminds you that, like, we're just an average human being just out there going the sport that you love. So this season, you know, since my last season on the team, just trying to have fun, I'm probably going to try to find a song that fits me to, like, kind of remind me, like, we're just here to have fun. Like, we want to win, but we're just here to enjoy the moment.
I did not know that about Stroud. That's actually interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, what is, like, your most embarrassing moment in the sport? I have so many, so I know you have to have some.
You know what's funny is I called both my mom and my dad, and they really couldn't think of anything. So I have one that's not in soccer, but it was in hockey.
Okay.
So Montana, obviously, like, it's cold, so tried every sport. And in a hockey practice, like the first one ever that I'd gone to, you know, I think I was like 5 or 6. I was still using like the crate thing, you know, like the locker. And Mom was there all excited, and I fell, and I hit my head, and I was fine. But my mom, like, ran out into the court, like, super worried about me. And the coach just looked at her and she goes, "This is not the sport for you guys." And so that was my first and last day of hockey practice.
Oh my gosh,
go.
that's
But
funny.
in the sport, probably.
No ankle breakers, like nothing.
No, I don't get my ankles broken. Come
No.
on. I got highlights of breaking people's ankles.
Okay.
I'd probably say maybe mouthing off to the ref or something like that, saying something
Okay.
like that.
You ever get like a you get a yellow
card?
or
Yeah,
you ever
I
gotten
guess-
red?
No, never a red card. In high school, I got suspended because I got too many yellow cards. So I guess that was kind of embarrassing, missing like my senior year of playoffs.
Oh my
because,
gosh.
Well, okay, I will argue with the Montana Association for whatever, but we played 12. we played 12 games, and you can only get 3 yellow cards throughout the entire season.
Oh.
And the game before playoffs, I got a yellow card.
That's
And
tough.
I was freezing
that is
wholesome. I
tough.
remember I was so cold. I think we
That's
lost like
tough.
6-0.
That is tough. Okay, doesn't have to be soccer, but
Yeah.
favorite athlete
Like, of all time.
all time.
Yeah.
And it could be, maybe it's Messi still, but
Honestly,
like,
for me, it's Kobe. I love Kobe growing
Okay.
up.
Kobe
I just,
Bean.
with that competitive drive, I just loved the way that he worked. Granted, I think
Yeah.
that's probably what caused me to not, like, probably make more enemies with teammates and make friends with
Yeah.
teammates, because I was just so about, like, hey, we have to, like, get
Yeah.
into shape. And I think the thing I've learned from Kobe is, like, you don't compare your work to others. And that's, like, a life lesson I've really been trying to work now, is everyone kind of has their own pace of how they do things. And Kobe just did it at such a different level.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I thought that's what everyone had to be at. And now I'm learning that, like, it's just about me. And for the longest time, I thought it was, like, conceited to think, like, oh, I just got to worry about me or, like, focus on me. But that's all Kobe did. He'd push his teammates, but he worked out because he wanted to work out. He didn't work out to compare himself to the other teammates. Granted, all the stories to come out about that,
Yeah.
but he did it for himself. And that's,
Yeah.
like, the...
who do you learn that from, Andrew?
Probably LeBron.
Oh, yeah, really?
Probably his carbon copy, MJ. MJ's the GOAT. There's no debate.
Thank you.
There is a debate because yes, there is.
No, there's
We'll
not.
get into that, but okay.
Another time.
Yes, this is a common controversy for Andrew and I.
I don't think it's a controversy.
Yeah, I don't either. So, favorite sports moment of all time. Andrew and I have talked about our own, but like,
like professional sports moments,
or collegiate. Mine's collegiate.
It could be whatever.
So,
yeah.
I'd probably have to say the World Cup. Like seeing Messi win the World Cup was truly just. I was screaming in my house.
Yeah.
Everyone thought I was crazy, but just being able to watch him, like the little boy from Rosario, like it's all ever he wanted. He talked about it. All he ever wanted to do was for his country, and just to be able to see.
And his last one.
His last one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And the way that he played to kind of cement his, I think, GOAT status over Ronaldo. And just also seeing how the fans responded, like going back to how it's a world game. Like people were crying, like people in.
Did you see the streets of Argentina?
I was just gonna bring that up.
That was like 4 million. 4 million. Yeah, that's crazy.
Like think about that. Like when the NBA, like their city, that's what, 500,000, 700,000.
Yeah.
4 million people.
Yeah, no, and it was like across all the major cities in Argentina too.
Did you see the viewership that they just posted? That FIFA posted? It was 1.5 billion people watched the World Cup game.
Damn.
Yeah. What's your favorite moment?
Mine's 2016, Game 7, LeBron winning down 3-1.
Oh.
What do you mean?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
That was like, bro, I was tearing up, man. It's like, bro.
That's fair. No, that's
I
good.
dead ass was too. Like that
was a good
moment for me.
Yeah.
For you?
Ohio State winning the 2015 national championship with their third string quarterback Cardale Jones.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was with Zeke. I remember he was eating back
Michael
in the day.
Thomas, Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
We actually had like a pretty insane team that year.
That's a stacked team.
Yeah.
Ohio State used to have a crazy quarterback room with Joe Burrow, Haskins, and
I just saw a post about that. Yeah.
JT Barrett was in there too. I'm pretty sure. Well, JT Barrett took Burrow's spot, which I thought was, or no, maybe it was Haskins.
I think it was Haskins.
Yeah, which honestly, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
probably seemed like a good choice.
Obviously, you look back, you probably wouldn't have done that, but like,
I want the Bengals to win it all. I want Joe
You
Burrow.
do?
I mean, it's Joe Burrow. How can you hate on him, man? Joe Shiesty. Like, you can't hate on that.
I know.
Burr, Joe Burr.
Well, thank you for joining us on this week's episode. Tune in every week for new episodes and content as we get into the season.
Yes, and also we want to hear from you guys about what topics we should talk about. So tell us in the comments or DM our Instagram account at Beyond the Whistle BSU and send in your topic requests.
We want to send a huge thank you to all of you for joining us for this first episode. And finally, we really could not do this without our producer and crew. So to each of them, we send our gratitude. I'm Alex East.
And I'm Andrew Vincent. Join us next time on Beyond the Whistle for all your sports news needs.